Kaplan, who's a game director for Overwatch, has come out and made a statement on banning heroes and maps for Overwatch. Um, And he goes on to say, for some reason, for a lot of games, this makes sense. RTSs and MOBAs in general, and fighting games like Smash Brothers also implement this, right? You can ban out maps in certain tournaments. Uh, RTSs and MOBAs have good reasons when they implement these systems, even though Overwatch has some similarities and attracts fans from those genres. Really feel like this game's unique in its own way. Okay, so let's break this down. RTS and MOBAs have a good reason to implement these systems. He's talking about banning champions or maps. And in games like League of Legends, you ban champions. Or Dota, you ban champions, right? At professional play, you have to ban champions because champions can either be, for one of many reasons, but they can be broken beyond dealable repair. At Season 5, was last Season 5, at the Worlds, the latest Worlds Championship for League of Legends, they did the Juggernaut rework, right? And made a right before, with no tournaments being played with these champions, right? Maybe one. They reworked 4 or 5 major champions and turned them into unstoppable monsters. And now you witnessed every game having the same bans, because otherwise, if the team got one of those champions, it was more than likely a free win because the opposing team had no way of dealing with it, because they had never seen it play in a competitive environment like that on the world stage. But there's also the aspect of, I want to initiate a comp. I want to build a team of champions to do one thing, and that champion over there shuts that down. So I'm going to ban that champion out so I can build this comp that goes after these objectives, that focuses on this playstyle. Keep that in mind. Now, and then maps are also similar. If I have a certain playstyle, if my team's very aggressive if I'm playing Terran, and in StarCraft, right, and you can do this, you can set your map preferences, or if I'm playing Zerg against the Terran, I'm not going to want a map that has a very large ridge on the side of it going into my main base, because then Terran can just get Reapers, jump in, harass me early game, especially if my early game's weak, right? And my early game micro's weak, or I'm going for a cheese comp, an early expand, 2-base early expand, something goofy, right? Forgive me, I'm just getting back into StarCraft, but which Legacy of the Void is dope. Let me tell you right now, it is some good stuff. But besides the fact, so you set your map preferences so you're less likely to get that. And it allows you to work around certain strategies. It's not necessarily taking out a problem from a broken point of view, but it allows you to craft a new strategy based off of your map settings, off of your map preferences, off of what maps you don't want to play. And in when they allow that banned in Smash Brothers, which I'm pretty sure they still do, you can ban maps or counterpick maps. You have maps that are already chosen and delegated as banned and counterpicked, and you go through and you get a pick. Those maps heavily favor. There's going to be maps in Overwatch that heavily favor one hero or a certain group of heroes or a certain comp, right? And if my team can't play that well, hey, welcome back to the stream. No worries. Enjoy some Overwatch. Today we're going to be we're doing a brief introduction on some of the stuff that happened on Overwatch over the weekend, some of the announcements, and then we're going to be jumping into the game. So where was I? So those maps, when you have a counterpick map, a ban map, or legal maps, they allow you to make a strategy tailored to them and allow you to open up your strategies for them. So when Jeff Kaplan comes out and says that they're not going to really allow ban maps, and I'm hoping he's talking about in a casual sense and not towards the competitive community, which he's come out, Overwatch has come out and Overwatch has come out and stated that they're going to be doing, they're going to be allowing servers with different preferences, and hopefully you can do bans in those preferences, because building strategies and tailoring your strategies towards maps and towards champion comps through bans is a big part of any strategic played group game. To get into the Overwatch beta, it's currently only going through closed, so they have to be invited by Blizzard. Your account has to be flagged. They haven't. You can pre-order the game, but they haven't actually brought in anybody from the pre-orders yet, unfortunately. So the people streaming it are the people who got special privileges from Blizzard currently. And then he goes on, and then Jeff goes on to talk about how I don't like playing against Trollbjorn and frustrated. And this has me thinking that he's only talking about casual, which is relatively understandable. Though sometimes characters are going to be completely broken, and with Blizzard's track record on balance, I'm a little worried that they're just never going to get around to fixing it, which bans would fix that issue, right? Because bans are another way to balance. If you see a champion with a high ban rate or a hero with a high ban rate, then you know something's wrong. Something's being abused there. So it's another KPI, key performance indicator, on how your game's being played. And he goes on to talk about Wayne Gretzky era, and I'm so many fond memories of Wayne Gretzky. And I think that argument's a little bit flawed, because banning out Gretzky would be like banning out an actual player of Overwatch, not so much a hero, if you catch my drift. Anyway, that's my little rant on the maps, on the banning, on Blizzard, what appears to be Blizzard's stance on banning. Definitely Jeff Kaplan, who's the game director, who's come out and publicly talked about this. I haven't read any other comments, but I think that I hope they revise this, and going into the competitive scene, that they decide to implement bans in some kind of way, because the competitive community is going to need them, especially once they start implementing other rules. If they start putting in champion locks and anything like that. And also, in other bigger news, it was just announced that King of the Watch is back, which is an online tournament, so we're going to actually be able to see some competitive play, which means I will be breaking down some competitive Overwatch, hopefully, if I can get my hands on the replays, which I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see where the meta's at from a competitive standpoint, and these are people that are generally TF2 pros, retired TF2 pros, or just high-level players coming in and already starting to get into Overwatch and pushing the competitive development, which will, you know, when we start watching Heroes or King of the Watch played and other tournaments like that, that'll start trickling down into the casual scene, which will be really exciting. I like that stuff. All right, without further ado, let's get into Overwatch, eh? So I'm gonna go into waiting real quick.